Hey guys, Check 101 coming at you with another knife review. Today we're going to check out a really cool little folding tactical knife, general EDC blade, all around just a good little carry knife. And that would be the Columbia River Knife and Tool m21 O2G. Now, the M21 is a standard series that this knife comes from. Kit Carson, it's designed by Kit Carson. The Carson line has some M16 lines and M21. O2 is just the fact that this is number 2 in the series. It has a number 1 that is bigger than this. This one has a 3-inch blade, and the other one has like a 3.5 or a 4-inch long blade. And then the G stands for G10, which is what the scales are made of on this knife. Now, this knife, we have an AUS 8A blade, which is perfectly fine, and it really puts up with a lot. The general design of the blade, just getting into the blade here a bit, is we have a recurve here in the blade shape with a dagger-style tip, or a spear point, if you will. And we have a small back swedge here that, of course, is not sharpened. It's a false swedge. We have a blackened titanium nitride coating on it as well. The grind on it is a hollow grind. I don't know if I can get the light to do this, but yeah. You can kind of tell by the light when the light kind of shimmers and tapers back like that, that it's a hollow grind. The other way you can tell is you just simply take your thumb and move it down like this. If you can feel a big swoop from the grind line down to the edge, it's a hollow grind. Just for those of you who don't know what that means. And it's a very, very good cutter. The best cutter, at least in my experience, has been a full flat grind, but this knife cuts very, very well. Again, there's the Columbia River Knife and Tool logo, and the Carson Design M21 O2G. And it's got the US patent. Now the patent, before I go any further, is on this. And this is called the auto locks. Now, if you're not familiar with Columbia River Knife and Tool knives, one thing that you should familiarize yourself with is their locking mechanisms. At first they had just the locks, which was already a fantastic idea, and then they came up with the auto locks, and basically what it does is the main locking mechanism for this knife is a liner lock, as you can see. You have the black liner lock here. But what makes a liner lock dangerous is that it can just kind of push over whenever, if you squeeze too hard, or the fat from your big old fingers gets in there and it tries twisting it. That can kind of ruin your day. It'll cause the blade to shut, and that's never a good thing. So basically, what they did to correct this is this little red dot here. It's on a lever, a spring-assisted lever. Now the original was not spring-assisted. It's an automatic knife, but the lever mechanism used to be just a manual. Now, as you can see, I can let go and it clips right back up. But what that does is there's a little pin in here, and the lighting's not too great. I'm sorry about that. But there's a little pin in there that you can't really see it. But anyway, I have to take my word for it. That basically keeps the lock. As you can see, I'm trying to disengage it right now, and it just will not allow it. Let me see if I can get some better lighting here. There we go. Maybe that's a little bit better. Anyway, you can kind of see the pin in there. Anyway, it's basically, that is what keeps this liner lock from ever closing on its own. So what you need to do is you need to disengage that, hold it down, then move this to the side. You can now let this go. Disengage it, and then continue to close once you've removed your fingers from the way of the blade. This knife, as far as its handle, we have G10 scales on the handle, which are beautiful. Very, very high quality. Medium textured, I'd say. They're not terribly smooth, and they provide decent traction. The knife has some holes in it, and in the steel linings that are all milled out. So this knife, although it is really heavy, it makes it a lot lighter than it would have been. As you can see, at least up until here, you have it on this side as well. The only options, by the way, for this knife, as far as carry, are tip up and tip down, right side, both. And that's fine for righties. I don't know if they're going to start doing it on this side too, but either way, works fine. So again, we have the hollowed out liners, a very, very nice pivot pin that can easily be adjusted with a coin. I think a dime would fit in there, or a simple flathead screwdriver will do just fine. And that makes the whole knife a lot easier to take care of and everything. The rest of them are just regular Torx screws, I think, or the hex screws, I'm not really sure. But the deployment on this knife, although you could deploy it with a thumb stud deployment, it's not comfortable at all. As you can see, this is very, very sharp edged, and it's not fun to do. You get a nice little gash in your finger when you do it. This knife is actually meant to be a flipper design. That means you just simply flick the flipper with a little flick of the wrist, and it pops right open beautifully. And then automatically, this auto locks feature is put into place, so that way the knife will not close. Flipper knives are really, really good, and there's a lot of them out there. If you like flipper knives, you have so many different knives to choose from. Most of them are going to be from Kershaw or Columbia River Knife and Tool. Is that a bad thing? No, because they both make fantastic knives. I've got a couple flipper knives. I'm not a huge fan, and the main reason for that is because our grip when we are starting with a flipper, let me pan out here, that's it, instead of having, at least we have our fingers over here, in a thumb deployment, and it's a quicker, at least to me. A lot of guys like this. Now as you pull out of your pocket on a tip up, it does make it a lot easier just to pop it, and then you gotta quickly get it in. We do have some jimping on the back that is somewhat functional. It's mainly aesthetic, but if you really dig your finger fat into it, it does provide traction, and it is something useful. But basically, this deployment stud is really actually the stop pin for this design, and it functions as that very, very well, and I have no complaints about it, other than the fact that I might have to mark where it hits here, and then maybe put a bevel on the other side here, so I can actually deploy it like that without it being uncomfortable. Because I would like to have this as a thumb stud deploying knife, just to kind of keep all my knives in line with one another. So one isn't different from another. That way, commonality of technique, and that would make for a lot easier and less foul ups in deploying my knife, especially in emergency situations. But overall, this is a really cool knife. As you can see, we have a flow-through design here too. The pocket clip is plenty strong, but not too strong where it's going to rip up our pants. Like I said, it is kind of a heavy knife. For what it is kind of heavy. The handle is a little bit thick. It's a bulky knife a little bit, but if you like that, you'll do just fine with it. It really is a fantastic little small utility and EDC blade, though. Very easy to sharpen because of that nice AUS 8A steel. It's very fast in hand, and it gives you some heft. I honestly, if you keep this knife maintained as far as the pivot screw and all that good stuff, I wouldn't really hesitate bringing this knife out camping as far as batoning and that kind of thing. It really is just a fantastic knife for your everyday stuff like that. Now, as far as camping and that kind of thing, you gotta really be careful of these holes. The fact that it's a flow-through design makes it a lot easier to clean out. However, getting gunk in there is going to be such a pain, and you really got to make sure that you have some cleaner in there. Otherwise, you're going to have to take the whole knife apart, and that's always a pain to do. But this is a really, really good knife. I forget the retail price of it, but I got this one for like $50, I think, and that's very reasonable. The bigger counterpart to this knife is truly just a fantastic tactical knife. It's very big and it's very bulky feeling, but it's a great, great blade, and I highly recommend either or both to you. Obviously the bigger one if you're looking for a nice big tactical folder. This one if you're looking for something that can be used in a tactical role. Absolutely, and I've trained with this in a tactical role, and it does work beautifully. It is a very, very good knife to use that way. Very, very good balance on it. The flipper also acts as your finger guard, basically keeping your finger from sliding forward on the blade. There really is no concern about doing that. Up here, it's dull. Up here is the dangerous part, so we want to make sure that our finger will not slide forward. But overall, great knife. Highly recommend it to anyone looking for a good, solid liner locking knife with a little bit extra. But this is it. The Columbia River Knife and Tool M21 OG. I'm sorry, M21 O2G by Kit Carson. So if you guys have any questions about it, leave me a comment. Other than that, have a great day, and I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you.